InnerQuest explores various pathways through which you can connect with the infinite wisdom of the universe and apply it to personal, professional, and spiritual growth. This program, featuring accomplished practitioners, educators, and authors, is provided by Infinity Foundation, an innovative center for holistic studies and research. We invite you to share this journey with us.
Hello, welcome to InnerQuest. My name is Jay Stone, your host for today, and our guest is Annie Burnside. Welcome, Annie.
Hi, Jay.
Annie is the author of this book, Soul to Soul Parenting, a guide to raising a spiritually conscious family. Besides being an author, Annie is an educator, parent, and soul nurturer who specializes in conscious relationships and spiritual support. Annie, tell our audience why you wrote this book.
You know, I've been on a spiritual path, a path of self-exploration for about 20 years. And it's a path that has just brought such joy and gratitude into my own life. It's my greatest passion other than my family. And about 6 years ago, I woke up one day and thought it was just a very clear feeling that it's time to bring the family along with me. That I, as their mother, could offer such support to them and spiritual development, really, that is life-changing.
And how did your family react to you saying, come on, we're all going on a spiritual journey?
Well, you know, my husband and I had a very conscious, purposeful discussion that we were going to make it a priority of what we offered in our family. And he was on board. It's more my passion than his, but he's very intuitive and present and willing. And our kids at the time were age 8, 7, and 4. So it was really just about breaking it into digestible bites. We used a lot of picture books, Disney movies, really whatever it took, but looking at life a little bit more consciously and pulling themes from everyday reality.
And so this is, what, 6 years ago?
Yes, it was about 6 years ago. So my kids are now 13, 12, and almost 10.
And what have you noticed about your children? Have they changed? I mean, they're going to change anyway.
Yes.
But talk about some of the changes that occurred and any resistance you encountered.
You know, yes, a little bit. I'll say this is not about being a perfect family. It's about being a bit more accountable. So we're much more aware that through our thought, word, deed, we're responsible for much of what is occurring in our external reality. So I would say that's the biggest difference. We dissect life together.
And so you communicate. You sit down and
communicate and take it versus what did you think about that? The next step, how did you feel on an inner level about that? And beyond that, knowing that we're eternal, vibrational beings emanating energy and creating much of what we see.
And when you say you're accountable, who are you accountable to each other? Are you accountable to God, a higher power?
Really to our own authenticity and to that own inner voice, and looking at disappointments, situations in life from multiple angles, that everyone's seeing the world through their own perceptive lens and being okay with that and navigating that versus a rigid perspective of my way is the only way, and kind of expanding perspective a little bit.
Now, you've been teaching a course on soul-to-soul parenting for several years now. Where do you teach soul-to-soul parenting? I assume Infinity Foundation.
Well, actually, I'm doing my first class there in October. I began speaking to audiences, all mainly in the Chicago area, on family spirituality. A friend of mine asked me to essentially make it official about 6 years ago and give a talk on what we do in our family, and it's grown in a very grassroots way since then.
Now, what about like different ethnicities? Do you think this will work for African Americans, Hispanics, Muslims?
The premise of it really is, obviously families come in all shapes and sizes.
And everybody has a soul regardless of their nationality or ethnicity or religion.
Well, I do believe that all of us could get much more in touch with our interior and balance it with our exterior focus a bit more, no matter where you live. listening for that quiet voice that resonates for you.
Now, does your soul-to-soul parenting involve any like meditation or family quiet time, etc.?
It does. In the book I offer, I wanted the book both to be theoretical and practical, and not as an expert in any way. I do not paint myself simply a spiritual journeyman, a mother, and I offer experience and perspective. But there are 22 vehicles in the book. Meditation is one of them, a weekly family discussion, role play, utilizing music that parents can use, and ways to do that. And then I offer 15 spiritual themes, such as oneness, self-love, gratitude, and you begin integrating those with the different everyday tools. So it's not something you just look at on Sunday morning per se. It's when they get off the bus on Monday and there's been a disappointment, you have the language to use and some tools to offer them to see the larger perspective.
And what about discipline? Does soul-to-soul parenting include discipline?
Well, yes. I mean, we're absolutely a normal, busy family on sports teams and this and that, and this is not all about free-for-all parenting. It's, you know, simply about going a little bit deeper with what you offer your children. So, yes, we actually, in a conscious family, you don't tend to stuff down and deny your feelings. So we utilize our emotions, all of them, the higher, wide open emotions of joy and appreciation, as well as anger, and we help our children navigate that in a safe space for release so that they don't end up stuffed in the body somewhere to be looked at later as psychic debris 30 years from now.
And what about like your children's friends and like the parents, you know, that you're friendly with? How do they respond to your soul-to-soul parenting?
You know, we drive a minivan. We've got Spirit on the license plate. It's called the Spirit Mobile, and a few visual cues like joy above the glove compartment, and little visual cues around our home. And it's who we are, which is really the point of the whole book. Like, how authentic are you going to allow yourself to be? And we by no means need anyone else to jump aboard. It's who we are, and it's really not been met with much resistance in any way.
Okay, and this is a